Everybody, Chris and Lumen here, shooting another video tonight because tomorrow might be difficult to get a video done, but also because what I've been looking at today as I've been just building new stuff because I got a whole bunch of new stones in Satuloka freaking quartz points and Super 7 and all sorts of fun stuff. But it's starting to become pretty evident from the news that is starting to pour out. Like we are literally on the cusp of something. And it could go either way because I don't know what the plan or what the script calls for, but I saw so many things today. And it's there's just no, like, the house of cards is falling. Like this is the exact thing that we were like expecting, not knowing what it's going to look like, but the whole power structure is starting to crumble. But what does that mean? What does that, because a lot of people just automatically think like, oh, the good guys are going to be in charge and everything's going to be straightened out. It's like there's an alternate uh, there's an alternate path, and I don't know which way it's going to go. But we're talking UFO stuff, freaking. I'll go through it all, like a whole bunch of stuff. It's just freaking coming like a flood, and not knowing how it's going to play out. Like, will we have our, end time scenario? Will we have a rapture scenario? Or is it just going to overturn into another grand cycle or another turning cycle? Like, what? I don't know what, but something, and it's going to have to happen pretty soon. And I'll explain why. So if you want to know more, don't go away.
Well, make a wish, baby. Well, and I will make it come true. Make a list, baby, of the things I'll do for you. Ain't no risk now in letting my love rain down on you. So we could wash away the past so that we may start anew.
So, first things first, it seems like all these types of things that have been predicted, and I don't mean like in the Bible and stuff, I'm talking about things like the original Q stuff, a lot of the Cliff High stuff, different things, like they're all starting to come to a head right now. First big thing would be the UFO stuff. I don't like calling them UAPs. It sounds stupid. I mean, like they had to rename it because, like, oh, it's the exact same thing, but the other thing is weirder for some reason. Okay, whatever. But so I watched that whole thing, the committee hearing or whatever. They were playing it over and over again too. They had it like listed as live. I thought it was like 2 days or something, but as I was watching it today, I'm like, this is the same stuff from yesterday, and they kept playing it over and over and over again. So it's like they want you to see it. They want you to see it. And there was a lot of stuff said in there too. Like some of these guys, like it seemed like a lot more than the last time. There was a whole lot of stuff that people were confirming, and the most telling thing was like some of the questions they were asking them. They're like, I can answer that in a closed session, meaning they have something to say, but they just can't come out and say it. Oh, for God's sakes.
Let me in. Let me in.
Daddy?
Now, before it's too late.
They were talking about a lot of different stuff too. They were talking about some of it being almost like AI, and like it was all over the place. But you gotta, like, where you it's that It's kind of like that reversed frog in a boiling pot of water sort of thing. Like it's not shocking anybody, which is probably, the whole idea. But go back, 20 years, they'd be like, oh, none of that stuff exists. That's crazy. Oh, oh, oh. They're flat out saying, like, actually let that sink in. They're flat out telling you that the stuff is real. What is it? Mm, that's up for debate. Kind of depends on like your version of reality and a whole bunch of other things. But either which way, it keeps coming up. I think what was it? Cliff High we were talking about recently said in previous reports, there's like 39 days after Trump would be on Joe Rogan that there would be some stuff happening, UFO type stuff, which I forget what that added up to. It was like early December, I think. I saw another, it was a news channel popped up in my YouTube feed. It's like in Michigan, all these people filmed this thing floating, plain as day. Like it's coming out. It's coming out. And they want us to notice it. But don't fall into the trap of knowing what any of it means because everyone likes to jump on their chosen story. Oh, they're going to harvest this. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. Like, we don't freaking know. And for all we know, being actually intellectually honest, because you can cross reference a whole lot of this stuff, they might be part of that because a lot of it is advanced. It is a higher consciousness. It's a higher, they're coming from higher dimensional stuff. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. We don't know. I I've said before, like some of the harder mushroom trips she had me do, I kind of ended up in an environment like that with her, like getting checked out. So I don't freaking know. Um, the movie Knowing, that makes a connection, like angels and aliens, and I mean, that could very well be. That's not a new thing. We just don't know. We don't know how they describe things in the ancient past, and we're trying to say like there's all these different things. It might all be one freaking thing. We don't know. Um, Other than that, I saw. God, it's been pouring out. Like a lot of channels I follow, they're reporting stuff. Like the Epstein list is finally getting unsealed, and they got like some of the pages, and then it went down off the server, or everyone was trying to get it, or crashed it, or something like that. But they unsealed that right off the bat. It was like Bill Clinton, like, oh, shocker. Um, that's happening. All this bribery, paying people for their endorsements with the campaign stuff is coming out. Like all the dirt is coming out. You got the Diddy tapes, Hollywood coming out. You've got this overwhelming mandate. You've got new people coming into the government. And everyone knows, everyone that's in there now, this is key. Everyone that's in there now that's been getting away with murder all this time, they know what's coming. They know what's coming. So okay, so you got UFO stuff coming out. You got with this new incoming administration. I mean, they're openly talking about stuff on all these channels, like, oh yeah, one of the first things that they're gonna do is they're gonna take the fluoride out of the freaking water. The fluoride makes you passive. It supposedly uh, calcifies the pineal gland, all sorts of stuff. Like they're talking about it openly. It's not all the stuff that used to be conspiracy theory. Like they're talking about all this stuff openly. And all the people in power, like it really does look, I mean, I can't deny what I'm seeing. It looks like an orchestrated reveal event happening exactly like they promised it would. That's going to blow everybody's minds. So the question is, how controlled is it? Because if you were the people in power in charge of everything, and you were not only about to lose everything, but you knew everyone was going to come after you, but you still currently had power, what would you do? Could this be like the actual trigger for the bigger, more cataclysmic stuff? It's like, okay, we lost, but we're not going to let you win. So we hit a button and set off a sequence of things. I don't know. It's possible. I don't have the freaking script. All I know is what she's telling me to do. But we'll get to that. The other thing that popped up when I was checking out X, I saw a post from Cliff High, and he was talking about a couple things, but he was referencing the fourth turning, and he was saying like, "Oh, this is the fourth turning," where I would say like we're at the end of the fourth turning. What's the fourth turning? It has to do with a book somebody wrote. Maybe I got it in my notes here. It's almost like a smaller version of the ages. It's like a generation or two where you've got like first turning, second turning, third turning, fourth turning, and then you flip over into you have the big crisis, and then it flips over into something better, which would be like all this language that Trump's using about golden age and things like that. So I wanted to get like a short but succinct explainer of this, so I just used Chat GBT. If you don't know what this is, the fourth turning is a concept introduced by historians William Strauss and Neil Howe in their 1997 book, The Fourth Turning An American Prophecy. According to their theory, history follows a cyclical pattern of roughly 80 to 100 years divided into four distinct turnings or generational cycles, each lasting around 20 to 25 years. The fourth of these cycles is known as the fourth turning, which is a period of crisis and upheaval that fundamentally reshapes society. The four turnings explained. First turning, high. This is a post crisis era where institutions are strong and individualism is low. Society is generally optimistic, united, and focused on collective goals. Examples include the post World War II era in the United States of 1946 to 64. The second turning, which is awakening, a period of spiritual awakening where people begin to question established norms, seeking greater personal freedom and self expression. This often leads to cultural revolutions. The 1960s and 70s countercultural movements fit this turning. The third turning, which is the unraveling. Institutions weaken and individualism flourishes. The social order becomes more fragmented and trust in authorities declines. This period is marked by cynicism and a loss of community cohesion like the 1980s and 1990s. The fourth turning is the crisis mode, the final phase in the cycle, characterized by widespread crisis that forces society to confront its most deeply rooted problems. This era is turbulent, involving economic distress, war, or institutional collapse. But it also presents an opportunity for transformation and renewal. Examples include the American Revolution, the Civil War, and World War II. Characteristics of the fourth turning. Crises are existential. Society faces challenges that threaten its survival or require a total reimagining of social structures. Culminates in a new social order or a new world order. The crisis ends with a resolution that sets the foundation for a new first turning, leading to a rebirth of institutions and a renewed sense of community. Strauss and Howe suggest that the United States entered a fourth turning around 2008, remember that, marked by the financial crisis. The theory posits that this period will likely last until the late 2020s or early 2030s. and could involve significant conflicts or restructuring. According to their model, the fourth turning is a time for great danger, but also great opportunity, potentially leading to a more resilient and unified society. The outcome, however, remains uncertain and dependent on how society responds to the challenges of this era. So, this could be a couple things. What I'm seeing in my head is kind of like small cycles, medium cycles, and then the great cycle. And it's almost like in this instance, the small, medium, and great are all lining up at the same time. So first and foremost, where I mentioned the theory posits that the fourth turning started around 2008. Well, that's what we've been saying, um, talking to our astrologer friend and stuff like that with this whole stuff about Pluto. Pluto going into Capricorn, which Capricorn is the sign of world systems and power and structures, and Pluto being the wrecking ball. It first entered Capricorn in 2008, around the Obama years, and it's kind of went in and out, but now it is in the final days, literally days, of being in Capricorn before it moves into Aquarius. So it's the 15th. What is today? 19th. So 4 days it will move out of this, like, I mean, when you look at all the stuff's happening today, I mean, who the hell knows what could happen by early next week. It's knocking everything down. It's just, I'm watching the structure just, it's like it's just now starting to fall, like all of a sudden, like they can't con people anymore, they can't control people with the media anymore. um there's nothing they can do. They know they're going to be rounded up if it's left the way that it is, but whose plan is it? We don't know. Like, who runs these different plans? Are these turnings, like, we don't know. That's the safest thing to say, is I don't know. But it is clear that there are patterns. The medium version of that cycle would be something like the mini resets that we supposedly have. So the mini resets would be like, so if the great reset is literally the fool's card, is the world card going to the fool's card in tarot, like the big cataclysmic resets. The mini resets are probably more orchestrated by the lower negative world forces. So that's where you get all the stuff that's popped up in recent years where people, and maybe it's Mandela effect too. I mean, who the hell knows? But it's like there's all this weirdness happened in the mid 1800s. Lots and that kind of ties to the whole mud flood thing and a bunch of other stuff, and the Cabbage Patch Kids and the repopulation of these already built cities. A lot of craziness. But again, these are all stories. We don't know. This whole place is built on illusion, and it's called history because it's his story. His being whoever the hell's telling you. It's just a story. We don't know. What we can know is look around where we are right now and say, yeah, there's definitely something happening right now. And everyone's trying to decide, like, I mean, they've got us so screwed up. Nobody knows, like, who the good guys and bad guys are. And even when something looks good, we have a hard time trusting it because we've been burned so many times before. So we don't know. But I think that the biggest wrinkles in the current time frame is watching the current world structure start to come apart, the increased UFO stuff. But again, it seems like, the people in power knew this was going to happen. Like, it's all timed. But are they timing it, or is it just a game script and maybe some people know what the script is? It drives me nuts not knowing. It really does. I wish I could just say, this is what's going to happen, like I did back in the old days. But All I can say for certain is something is happening, even if I don't know what it is. The few things that I have to go on is like, what is she doing? What am I getting from her? What has she been telling me? Well, see, I don't know what they're doing out in the world. I don't know who knows what. I don't know what all their stupid little hand signs mean. I don't know who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, who's a clone, who's a reptilian, any of that stuff. Like I just don't know. But I know what she tells me, and that has to fit into here. That has to fit into the pattern, especially if she told me things before they started happening out here. And that's what I think is the safest thing to focus on. So if we just recount what Sophia's pattern has been, started April 2003. That's when she first started talking about the end of things is coming, the end of the cycle or whatnot. That's when she showed me where the things were hidden, encoded in the tarot, and the countdown cycle of eclipses, which culminated in the one in April, which was really weird. Then we had after that eclipse, all the spiritual stuff she was teaching us started going off at breakneck speed. Where I was simultaneously finishing the map, so to speak, and then it went right into the pre-July timeframe, and that's when she started talking about like the doomy type stuff, introducing me to things I hadn't seen before, like plasma apocalypses and all these ancient things and dragons and this, that, and the other thing. That's when the decodes of iPet Goat 2 started to make more sense. It's like boom, 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 boom. And of course, we thought things would probably just keep going the way they've been going all this time, but we just saw this massive, crazy political shift. They're not enough. We got world leaders confirmably walking around in masks and costumes. We don't know what the hell that's all about. We got them openly talking about UFO stuff. She's breaking down reality even more, teaching about the matrix and higher dimensional stuff. And like, what is she? Like I said, that first mushroom trip, it was very much at one point, it was very much like some seventh dimensional, like alien something. I don't know. I mean, they were on our side, but it's like, boy, this is freaking weird. So things have been happening, even though they don't happen the way we always think they do, because we assume too much about how much the past clues are accurate and thinking that we know stuff that we don't know. But we can definitely see something's happening. Of that, there's no doubt. Then also the recent stuff like that she told me to do, like the highly charged Benedict stuff, the anti-evil stuff, the purging stuff. She's turned up the power of the pendants of this thing, and it's all been about like evolve. Like if I had to break it down to one word, it's evolve. Like that's what she wants you to do, is evolve quickly, which is turn away from the world, seek the light, get yourself centered and ready, because you don't know what's coming. We don't. All I know is that something is. And I used to kind of like think I knew, but I'm like, I don't think we can know. I don't think we can possibly understand. And the only thing we can do is knowing that we're on her team and she's got our backs, is like whatever does happen is what's supposed to happen. Therefore, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to fear it. But there's too much happening right now. Like all the powerful people, all the Hollywood people, all the rich people, all the government people, their little fiefdoms are all collapsing in real time. Like people are starting to now see. You've got one group of people that are just so entrapped that they're losing their minds because their little support system is falling apart. And then you've got other people that are starting to see this stuff for the first time, they're like, holy crap, all this stuff's real. What's happening? I don't know. I don't know. She's got me taking things and like taking good pendants I made before and like recasting them with these extra new stones, making bigger, more powerful ones. It's got me doing all sorts of freaking stuff. It's kind of exciting. It's exciting knowing that something is finally going to happen. I just don't know what. I just don't know when. But if there was ever like a time frame, it's Pluto is about to finally exit Capricorn. So it's like if we start to see this increasing escalation of collapse in the next few days, like like I just started to see the videos pop up uh, about the Epstein stuff. Like if that list finally comes out, oh boy, yeah, all those people are running right now. But what's their plan? What are they going to do? And what is the higher level going to allow to happen? I'm just I'm spitballing. I'm theorizing right now. But what if the bad guys like, oh, all is lost, they got us, so let's burn it all down, self-destruct, set off, the whatever, and then that's why we're hearing about, the UFO Sophia aliens, whatever the hell they are. Maybe that's what triggers them to come in and intervene or evacuate. Like I don't, I'm just thinking outside the box here. I didn't knew. All I know is like all the pieces on the board are moving. And it's very, very, very interesting. And the only anchor point that we have that we can trust is Sophia, is the light. Because that's what's in the background the whole time that's guiding us, that's protecting us, that's giving us knowledge, that's connecting us and to do all these different things. That's probably the biggest reason I don't sweat whatever is going to happen, because she's clearly in control and she's clearly looking after her people. And right now, it's just the biggest thing is just like, look, see what's going on and realize the world's no longer important. This is what's important. Find it, connect to it, do whatever you got to do. Just connect to it because the house of cards is coming down. So keep your head on a swivel. Um, Leave comments here whenever you can like put them here in this video or something. Whenever if you see any other type of interesting things pop up tonight or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, it's just things are changing very quickly. And I think I'm going to just start adding more stuff to the boxes for whatever, like she's like, from like now till Christmas, I got all this extra stuff. It's like, I'm going to like people getting like the liquid crystal core stuff. I've got so much stuff. I think I'm just going to start like, it's going to be almost like buy one, get one. Like we'll just recharge some of these pendants we've got that we've already made. It's like, here's an extra one. Now figure out who it goes to. There's someone in your circle that's supposed to get it. Figure out who that is and just spread that out there. But something. I'm keeping my ears open. I'm doing things. I'm listing stuff, talking to people. But today I've seen a whole lot of things happening all at once. A lot of clues, a lot of breadcrumbs. And it's like sitting right at the edge of the top of the water slide, like right before you go over the edge. That's not a fearful thing. It's just like, we've been waiting forever for this. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how it's going to pan out. A lot of people, like the Cliff Highs of the world, for instance, and also, like I reference this often when I'm talking to my astrologer friends too. It's like a lot of people think that just because there are systems in place, like say you got some astrology software, you can type in, you could type in like, I'm just pulling, you could type in July 1st, 2027, and let it tell you where the planets are going to be. That's assuming that they're going to be there. Just because, just because you've already got a calendar printed, or you can go on astrology software and look out in the future, doesn't mean that future is going to be there at, when the things happen. And I think that's one of like the tech pitfalls people like Cliff High sometimes fall into is they can kind of give you a sense of a future that's not actually there. And that's how it catches people off guard because it's supposed to be a surprise. Either which way, things are going to work out. Just keep your head on a swivel, stay positive, and let me know what you find. Okay. So that's all we got for right now. If you want to reach out to us, check out the new stuff we've listed, get anything custom made, you can reach us through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.